to order, talk about the budget. For the duration of the public hearing, I'm going to stand. I'm having an issue with my back. My age is starting to show. But I will sit for the regular council meeting. So at this time, we're going to open it up. Any comments, questions from the table? Sandy's here, along with myself, to answer any questions you may have pertaining to the budget that has been presented.
I guess, can you briefly discuss the transfers that are going to, where it says to pay back the transfer that goes to, I think, the sewer fund, water fund?
Back to or from?
Transfer cash to the highway fund,
Yes.
and then there was a transfer on the sewer fund for the, oh, that was for the deficit elimination plan.
Yeah, the $185,000 from the general funds going to the sewer fund for the $185,000 that we had.
Stand up, please. Then come on.
You don't want to talk to me. The due to funds, basically is from the general fund going to the sewer fund to cover the sewer deficit elimination plan that we had made a resolution on in the past year.
And your original question was,
And the other question was, I'm sorry.
Just to explain the transfers.
because there's a transfer also from, I think it was water back to highway improvement.
Yeah,
The
$250,000.
$250,000, there is on the books showing that the water fund owes the highway fund $750,000. So we want to make a payment back to them for $250,000.
What has taken place back in 2011, 12, before the water and sewer debts were passed on to the residents, the highway improvement fund, money was taken from the highway improvement fund to make these payments,
For bonds.
to make the bond payments.
And there was negative cash, so they had to make that look like there was negative cash in that account. And
So we were hoping that we could just forgive these debts, but the auditors and the law won't allow us to forgive them, so we actually have to pay them back. And you will see there will be more payments made in years to come to pay off these debts. Like I said, the water fund owed the highway improvement fund,
$750,000.
750.
$742, I think it was at the
Yeah.
time. It's basically showing as a receivable, so basically it's always changing it from a receivable to a cash. So it's kind of, it's a transaction over on the balance sheet, not the revenue expenditures.
So just to put it in a nutshell, what these transfers are doing is correcting the funny accounting that was done before. And
Yes.
now.
Primary deficit is correct.
Yeah.
Yes, does that make sense? Okay.
you know, to expand on it a little more, the, let's say the water fund, which has been operating in the black, is healthy for the most part. But the requirement to pay back these loans kind of prevents us from reducing the cost to the residents. We fortunately have been able to freeze the rates, but we're actually hoping to be able to reduce the rates. But we can't, because we gotta pay back these other funds. And there's a couple of instances that we have discovered, you know, that took place back in 11, 12, 13. Like I said, the sewer deficit is one of them. The fact that those rates weren't passed on right away. So there's close to $1 million that has to be paid from the sewer fund. I think there was one other. Maybe that's it, just the water and sewer.
Just the water and sewer. There was a prior period thing of $33,000 that was Act 51 money, it was a PA 208, some kind of public act, for $33,000 that in prior periods had been put into the general fund, but we had to give it back to the Act 51, so we had to give it back to the major and local. So that was $33K. So That's in the budget amendments, it'll show that also too, so. This is probably the first year that we've probably seen a better picture, a clearer picture of what's going on in the village. Past years has been on spreadsheet, so now it's all in our system, all our balances should be correct. And this is probably the first year that we will be able to see what's really happening instead of, trying to guess with the spreadsheet and stuff like that. So hopefully next year will be even better. So we do see some growth happening. We were told, this was before this, we were conservative with the taxes and stuff like that on this budget, but we were told from Lennox Township that the assessed value is going up 2.1%. But it's March review time, and they don't know what the rollbacks are for the homestead tax and stuff like that yet, so we don't know what's going to happen with that yet. So we were conservative with the budget on the revenue, and of course, we'll do some budget amendments when we get the taxes and stuff like that. And
We try to be conservative. I
we try to
mean,
be conservative.
conceivably, this current budget is based on last year's, after the review period, because there are some rollbacks that have to take place, and they don't take place until like June or July. And that's when we actually get the real numbers. But of course, our budget has to be in place by March.
Also, too, we have been told that there's going to be like 78 houses being built in the next 2 years, and also, too, we know that there is trailer parks that have been 100 units in this past year that have been set down, so that's going to help our sewer deficit elimination stuff going, with like just the trailers, just for the sewer debt. It's going to generate like almost 40K more a year, so that's going to be helpful, too. So we'll start looking at it, how we can reduce that in the coming years, so we'll be working on that angle here soon.
We've also discovered small items, such as, there's a dumpster at the DPW yard. It's a 20-yard dumpster that we can only put debris that is picked up by our street sweeper. That dumpster was being charged off to the water department. And it should have been charged off to Act 51 and local streets. So you got one department paying for something that it has nothing to do with. So there's been a lot of discoveries like that where things weren't being properly charged off. Oh, we were just waiting. Questions? Our fund balance, there's an increase in our fund balance for the proposed 1920 budget. That increase was
This is,
total.
we are estimating probably $836,000 overall increase in fund balance.
Increase in fund balance. We'll let Sandy just stand there, please.
It's okay. It's okay. I mean, there's nothing in surprises or anything like that, so.
We've been in contact with the State Treasury Department. They've been harassing Sandy about the sewer deficit elimination plan. And I'm going to make a phone call tomorrow. Unfortunately, the audits that are in question are the audits that were conducted by the State Treasury Department. And the supervisor of that department is still in place, and so he's wanting to know what's up with our sewer deficit elimination plan. And it's a plan that they knew didn't exist back when they did the audit. They knew that the trailer parks weren't paying the sewer debt. Their audits reflect all the things that they're now harassing us for. So, there'll be a conversation tomorrow with that department to let them know that you guys, I'm not going to say they helped create this mess, but they didn't expose it 5 years ago. And now that we've totally exposed it, then we're working on a plan that is doable. We're not going to put together a plan that we can't fulfill.
those problems went back a lot further. And the contact person with the state of Michigan at the time, and the guy's name was Corey or Cody,
Karen.
Carrie, yeah, it was Brett Harris. So that may explain why some miscommunication might have happened. So maybe they should talk about the service that their personnel provided us.
Yeah, it's, what can you say? It was 2011 when I'm finding this stuff that they're asking for, you know?
But you have a name,
Bonds.
Carrie or, yeah.
Kerry Bond is the
We
name,
have it, so,
and he's still in place.
so we'll figure it out and deal with it and
That's
get
your point
it
of
moving
contact
forward, so
right there.
we'll get it.
I'll keep it.
We'll get it.
Any questions from the audience pertaining to the proposed 1920 budget, 2019-20 budget?
Is this posted on my website?
I think I can put it up there. It's posted here.
Cool.
I know all our financial stuff is up there. I have one budget up there, I think, for 18, 19. I don't know if I got this one. Thanks. There you go.
Questions? Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing at 6:47. Call the meeting to order. Would you please rise for the pledge? Pledge allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll, please.
Trustee Polly?
Here.
Trustee Meissen?
Here.
Trustee Bellinger? Here. Trustee Funkowski? Here. Trustee Pridemore?
Here.
Trustee Heschek?
Here.
Treasurer Razik?
Here.
Attorney Leeditz?
Here.
President Dilbert?
Here. Approval of agenda.
Any edits?
I'm sorry.
Any edits?
No, I don't have any.
I make a motion that we approve the agenda as presented.
Support.
Been properly moved and supported that we approve the agenda as presented. Any questions on the motion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Public comment on agenda.
Hi, Rachel, is it? So I'm looking at the minutes, and there's no motions on any of these minutes. In the January minutes that were approved at last meeting, committee appointments, it doesn't say who was appointed where, and this board approved these minutes. So looking at the February minutes, there's still barely any motions there. And you're not even calling out the trustees, you're just last name? Can we, these are a public record, can we like professional these up a little bit?
Any other comment on the agenda? Item 4 is not a please. Approval of minutes.
I have no change.
sorry,
I'm sorry, I have a change to the minutes.
you have a change to which minutes?
That's-
Last month's minutes.
February?
Yes, sir.
What is your change?
Roman numeral number 9, treasury items, that card total should be $3,851,433.91.
which one?
You said 9?
Yes, sir.
3,851,433.91.
Yes, sir.
3,843,000.
$3,851,433.91.
Any other corrections on the minutes?
How about some motions?
Hearing none. What's your pleasure?
Considering the feedback that we got from the call from the floor, or the public comment on agenda items, should we maybe ask for this to be updated as such, or?
That conversation during that training seminar that we had with Coco was a less is more.
But you at least need a motion.
We still have to state the motion. The motion has to be in place, and it needs to be clear as to what the motion was for.
Can we table approval until next month and see if we can catch them up?
Yes, I would, yes.
Yeah, I make a motion that we table them until next month, so they can be caught up properly.
Support.
Been moved and supported that we table the February 12th minutes. Any question on that motion?
So, Ann, you want to table them because we're going to do what?
We're going to update them with the appropriate information.
Get more
We
information.
won't accept these as an official record. Once we approve them as the official record, once they're updated, we can review them and then approve them to become the official record.
So where are their motions missing?
The dollar amount from the treasurer's report,
Right, that change.
that should be updated,
Okay.
so.
There's a motion on the table. We are not going to dissect the minutes right now. There's a motion on the table to table them. And it's been supported. If you have a question, it's very specific, but we're not going to go item by item.
No. I will not go item by item, I agree with you. But we're going to table them to change that dollar amount? Or we're going to
We're
table
going to
them?
table them to make sure that they're correct in what they should present to the public.
Okay, fair.
Any other questions on the motion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Consent agenda.
Make a motion to accept the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Been moved and supported that we accept the consent agenda as presented. Any questions on the motion? Roll, please.
Trustee Myson?
Yes.
Trustee Popoli?
Yes.
Trustee Bellinger?
Yes.
Trustee Pankowski?
Yes.
Trustee Prymore?
Yes,
President Gilbert?
Yes.
Trustee Hassett? Sorry.
President's items. We're going to start with the 2018-19 budget amendments. You have a highlight sheet that showed some amendments that need to be made to the 18-19 budget. Do you have any questions on the amendments that are being offered?
When did these happen? When did the funds go out of balance?
They're not, well, some of these are just end of the year because we are so close, we literally have to wait till this meeting before we can offer amendments because the budget has to be in place 2 weeks from now. And most of these adjustments are because we conservatively projected our budget, so these are actually improvements.
So there's nothing negative, that a budget overrun?
Is there anything negative? I think there was one account that was negative from the 18-19 budget. Thank you.
Rubbish, we knew that because we did that 75 cents. We know that the major roads, we're gonna be using some of the fund balance for $282,000 for the Clark Street. And we had a change order on the highway fund for like $12,000 for the effect fund balance. And I think that was about salt. I had to bring up the salt a little bit because we had a 10,000 bill and a 9,000 bill already. We got one more coming yet. Yeah, it's winter. So basically anything that went up was basically winter. Everything that really has been going up is all our maintenance issues, our equipment maintenance, stuff like that. That's where we've been getting hit pretty hard this year about, so.
So these are recent negative?
Yeah, it's supposed to be winter maintenance. We didn't, how do we plan that? So,
So we're not operating at any point with unbalanced budget?
no,
No.
not at all. And of course, that big check we got for our CBTRS money, so.
Any other questions on the amendments? Motion's in order.
I make a motion that we approve the 2018-2019 budget amendments as presented.
Support.
Been moved and supported that we approve the 2018-2019 budget amendments as presented. Any questions on the motion?
I actually have one, I was trying to find it when you were asking, but for the sewer fund, looking at the revenues and appropriations for it, it looks like the fund is healthy anyways, even without the transfer, but we still have to do that transfer anyways
To pay
per our,
deficit elimination? Yeah, the funding itself is operating in the black.
It's good,
Yeah,
okay.
so it's healthy, but we gotta make these payments back.
This tells us our cash doesn't tell. Our cash is what's in the negative.
okay.
Any other questions? Roll, please.
Trustee Meissen?
Yes.
Trustee Pankowski?
Yes.
Trustee Pankowski?
Yes.
Trustee Bellinger? Yes. Trustee Hashik?
Yes.
Trustee Pridmore?
Yes.
President Gilbert?
Yes. Item B. The 2019-2020 budget. So we need to accept it or set it aside or whatever your pleasure may be.
Okay, the budget is due, we have to finalize the budget by which date?
By the end of this month.
By the end of this month. And again, if we approve this budget, that doesn't mean that we can't amend things, it's a fluid budget.
Absolutely.
Okay, so I make a motion that we approve the 1920 budget.
Support.
Been properly moved and supported that we accept the 2019-20 budget as presented. Any questions on the motion? Roll, please.
Trustee Pridmore?
Yes.
Trustee Meissen?
Yes.
Trustee Pankowski?
Yes.
Trustee Bellinger? Yes. Trustee Pankowski?
Yes.
Trustee Hashik?
Yes.
President Gilbert?
Yes. We have to set a public hearing for the April meeting for our 2019-2020 millage. So we should set it prior to the April meeting, which is on the 8th.
The 9th.
What's the date?
April 9th. I move that we set a public hearing for the millage for April 9th, 2019 at 6:30 PM. Support.
Been moved and supported that we set a public hearing for the 2019-20 millage at 6:30 on April 9th. Any questions on the motion? All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. If you don't know, the superintendent of New Haven Community Schools, this is Barb, how do you say your last name?
Van Sweden.
Van Sweden.
So thank you for your time on the agenda this evening. What I wanted to share with you is information about our 2019 bond proposal. Hopefully you've seen some information about it, and if not, well, tonight might be the beginnings of more information to come. I have a story to tell, and the story is about New Haven Community Schools. It began back in 2015 when the district decided to complete a facility assessment. And it was at that time that the district decided what repairs, projects, and improvements needed to be done throughout all of our school facilities. So the story does also include the development of a strategic plan. The district now has 6 goals that are guiding our story and also guiding the development of this bond proposal. The story is about safety and security. It's about updating and replacing items throughout the district. And it's about upgrading the learning environment. So on February 11th, the New Haven Board of Education decided to place a $25 million bond proposal on the May 7th ballot. This is what it's going to take to transform New Haven Community Schools into a 21st century teaching and learning environment. The schools also support our 6-point strategic plan. So I'm sure most of you know what a bond is, but just to make sure we're all on the same page, it's like a mortgage. The school district will borrow money and then pay the bond back or pay the borrowed money back over a number of years. The bond proposal is predominantly focused on student safety and security, and that part of the bond really does support goals 5 and 6 of our strategic plan. There are 4 major areas to the bond proposal. There's detailed information on our website. If you go to the main page, homepage, on the right under school election information, there's an FAQ, there's a fact card that looks something like this, and then there's also the news release that I sent out to the media several weeks ago. There are 4 general areas of the bond proposal. First of all, student safety and security, and that's a major part of what we all do today, whether you're in local government or in education. In fact, I just came from New Haven Elementary, and they probably are about the only elementary school in Macomb County that doesn't have a secure entry. And that's a problem. People just can walk in, and before they catch them in the office, they're out and about in the schools. At our other 2 buildings, there is a secure entry, where people have to go in, they're buzzed into the office, they state their business, they sign in, and then they go on into the rest of the school. I also discovered we had a little issue when I first came to the district in August, and I said, well, let's pull up the cameras at New Haven Elementary. There are no cameras. That's another issue. So what we've done, short-term solution is to add 8 cameras. One's inside the building at the entry, 7 are outside the building. And that's to tide us over until after May 7th. Those are just some examples. We're planning on rekeying the district, replacing doors, updating all interior and exterior cameras throughout the district, as well as looking at other ways to keep kids and staff and visitors to our schools safe. The second area is about remodeling and upgrading our schools and school facilities. So what does that mean? Well, I was over at New Haven Elementary just before coming here tonight. I was in their beautiful media center. But I'm looking around and I'm thinking, this is a wonderful space, but what else could we be doing with this space to help prepare our kids for the work environment? That looks very different now than what it used to be. So what can we do within our own confines of our schools to convert existing space into what work looks like and what our universities look like these days? We're also going to be looking at creating outdoor learning environments. We have the beginnings of outdoor learning environments at all 3 of our schools. But how can we enhance those outdoor environments? There'll be upgrades to playgrounds because we know teaching and learning can also go on our playgrounds. At the administration building, we're looking at upgrading the gym. We have a lot of community groups that come in and use that gym in addition to our own school personnel. We have a great preschool program over there, and our little 3- and 4-year-olds also use the gym as well. But that facility needs upgrades so that we can invite more events, more community groups to come into our buildings. We'll update our K-12 science materials. We'll update our instruments at our band programs at the middle school and at the high school. There's going to be renovations to the band room at the high school. We'll be improving the track and bleachers at the high school as well so we can host larger events. We also are going to be looking at those other areas like electrical, mechanical, roofing, and of course I can't forget our parking lots. Anybody that's been into our parking lots recently knows you could lose a car in one of the holes that's getting bigger by the day. So we're also going to be looking at our heating and cooling systems as well. Flooring will be replaced in phase 2, and I'll talk a little bit more about that later. Again, you can get all this information on our school website, under school election information. The FAQ is there, the fact card, as well as the news release. The third area of the bond is upgrading our tech infrastructure and our technology in general. We know in order for our kids to be competitive, beyond high school graduation, they have to have experiences with the latest and greatest technology. But we also have to have the infrastructure to support it. We've purchased 4 Clever Touch panels for New Haven Elementary. These are interactive learning devices to replace our projectors as they're aging, and we're not replacing those. We're looking at what's the next best teaching tool. So we're going to get feedback from our kids and from our staff before we purchase more. There's one that we purchased for Endeavor as well as one at the high school as well. So in addition, we'll look at replacing servers and computers. I think one of the unique features about this bond proposal is that it is divided into 2 phases. Phase 1 will begin in 2019, phase 2 in 2024. And what that means is that, for example, we'll get 2 refreshes of our technology. So we'll start replacing in 2019, and then we'll do another replacement in 2024. We all know how quickly technology is changing these days, and it's hard to keep up with that. The fourth area, another important area of this bond proposal, of course, is replacing our school buses. They're aging, just like our cars age, and with the wear and tear on these roads and the miles that they travel, we need to replace our buses as well. But the important part, again, is that it's going to be replaced over 2 phases. So we'll start replacing the older buses, the worn-out buses this summer, and then continue replacing right through 2024. So that we don't purchase all of our buses at the same time, meaning they'll all get old at the same time. So it's really a well-thought-out plan. On January 11th, the district met with representatives with the Department of Treasury and to review our bond proposal, and all of the projects were approved. So that means that the support we have with the architect, construction company, and legal advice have all done their job in making our plan come alive. As I've tried to outline tonight, this bond proposal will affect all New Haven Community Schools students, staff, and families. And we do have to talk about the money. The current tax rate will increase by 0.9 mils, which means to the average homeowner, it's about an increase of $32.40 a year, or 9 cents a day. And of course, many homeowners will pay less than that. So after March 23rd, when absentee ballots are available, or on May 7th, Voters have one of three decisions to make. They can vote yes, they can vote no, or not vote at all. The other interesting part about this election is that for the first time, you don't need a reason to vote absentee. So ballots are available, or the application is available after March 23rd. And again, you don't need an excuse to vote absentee this year. The other piece that is important to note is that if you're in line on May 7th at 7:59 p.m., you can register to vote, and you can vote at the same time, in the same evening. That's another new piece as well. Information about the bond proposal is, of course, in our latest district newsletter. Hopefully you've all seen this. If you haven't, let me know. And it is on our website. Our link is on the website. But there's lots of information about the bond proposal there. If you need information, you can call the school principal. You can call or email me. And again, I appreciate your time tonight. Hopefully I've given you enough information to get you excited about our bond proposal. And again, thank you for the time.
Thank you. Does anyone have any questions?
Just so I know, the second phase was 2024?
Correct. Yes. It really will place the district in a good spot for about 10 to 15 years. And that really is maximizing the dollars.
Item E, Lombardo lot split. Last month, we approved a rezoning from residential office to single-family 2 for a parcel on Gratiot and Clausen. And now the request has come down to take that parcel and split it into 3 lots, 4 lots? 3 lots. And you have a recommendation from our planner. And no objection from MDOT. So what's your pleasure?
I make a motion that we approve the lot split as requested by the board.
Support.
It's been properly moved and supported that we approve the lot split as requested. Any questions on the motion?
I just have a comment. If we could just get the petitioner to date the application, that would be great.
The date on it?
Mhm. Just for record keeping purposes.
Do we know what the intent is for parcel D, which is substantially larger?
Parcel D.
Yes.
Parcel D is remaining residential office.
Okay.
Yes, yeah, parcel D is going to remain under the residential office zoning.
So this just effectively makes the frontage on Clausen versus Gratiot.
Yeah, for the northerly 100 feet.
So that parcel D is still available for commercial development.
Is parcel D the one that has this for sale sign posted?
Yeah.
Any other questions? Roll, please.
Trustee Meissen?
Yes.
Trustee Pankowski?
Yes.
Trustee McCauley?
Yes.
Trustee Bellinger? Yes. Trustee Hashik?
Yep.
Trustee Pymore?
Yep.
President Gilbert?
Yes. Item F, Paymar name, Paymar Road renaming. The road that leads to Paymar has been called a number of things over the years. And in doing all the quiet title search, it goes back to, I think, somewhere as far back as the 60s, where there were some lot combines that weren't registered, there were some splits that weren't registered, there's all kind of legal stuff. This has been trust me, this has been a zoo. We spent 6 months tracking down all the whereas and where's and whatnot. And the street that was put in that leads back to Paymar, the original proposal was to call it Morgan, because the original idea was to cross the bridge at the Shook Drain and bring it out to Main Street, which is Morgan right here. This first street is called Morgan. Well, that bridge never was put in, so you don't want a Morgan here and a Morgan out there. And then it was called Moran. And then someone thought it was fitting to call it Franchuk because that was the original property owner.
Sure where it is on Google.
You can look on Google and
Yeah, that's
Google.
where it's at.
I'm looking at it now.
I
We knew it as Moran, because didn't he request something with his lot a year ago or something like that? I remember he was doing something on it.
And try to clarify all this, what has been suggested by the Activetti family is that we name it Paymar Court. And we've been in contact with MDOT and the county, and we're ready to follow all the necessary paperwork to make all these other names go away and to call it Paymar Court.
I mean, you couldn't even connect it to Morgan anymore with everything that's been built back there,
No, you
correct?
couldn't.
Yeah, so it wouldn't be something that in the future,
No,
okay.
no.
You have to make a big wide turn.
It would be a weird, it would be a
It
weird.
would be a
concept.
weird- yeah. Because one of the other issues that when they put in their new building back there was multiple lots that had to be combined and.
Yeah, I remember doing
yeah.
the zoning variance.
So we
for
finally
that.
got that cleared up, and now we just want to clarify the name of the street, and it only services Paymar. Well, it services the diesel portion of the gas station. So there's a resolution before you, resolution 19-002, that we rename that street Paymar Court.
I make the motion that we adopt resolution 19-002, resolution to rename us, the roadway to Paymar Court.
Support.
Been properly moved and supported that we adopt resolution 19-002, renaming that street, which has a lot of names. Any questions on the motion? Roll, please.
Trustee Lyson?
Yes.
Trustee Jankowski?
Yes.
Trustee Mellinger?
Yes.
Trustee Pymar?
Yes.
Trustee Heshek?
Yes.
Trustee Prokoli?
Yes.
President Milner?
Yes. Motion carried. Item G, Haven Place. There was a request from John and Tina, Mr. and Mrs. Nagy, that to see what we could do about a crosswalk on Main Street from Haven Place to the park across the street. So I had Sumit do some research on it, and what you have before you is his estimate. So with that being said, I'll let these young people.
My wife and I would like to thank the council for listening to our concerns about the pedestrian traffic around there. As you know, Haven Place has been getting busier and busier with community projects, and especially since they've dedicated the park across the street to Haven Place. We've done a lot of work out there during our youth events and different times of the year. And it seems like the traffic doesn't like to yield when people are going across, and so we've had some concerns about that. And as this year has come along, I don't know how many have heard, but we're going to start a farmer's market in the parking lot on Saturdays. And on Sunday afternoons, we're going to be having a scripture reading in the park. So with people going back and forth, using the facility for the bathrooms and whatnot over there, we had some concerns about pedestrians crossing the main road there. And so that's why we presented the idea of putting some kind of either a light up there or something that would notify the traffic that pedestrians have the right of way to cross. And so, you know, our concern is as time goes on, we plan on doing more and more out in the community, and hopefully watching the downtown build back up on Main Street down here is our vision and our hope. And so we're thinking that if we provide the safety concerns, people will start looking and going, you know, looking around and seeing that same vision for some growth down there. So,
We have a lot of senior citizens that come to Haven Place, and then during the youth camp, they're 7th through 12th grade. So a lot of times they are running back and forth with wheelbarrows of dirt, planters, flowers. You know, we have a lot of work that we're doing back and forth, so we're really concerned. We actually had vehicles not even stop last year and go around the youth. Even with us adults there, you know, trying to get them across safely. And then with the farmers market, we may have to utilize the Haven Place Park with farmers over there too. It gets bigger, and people crossing there, you know, it is a concern.
and we have barbecues out there now and picnic tables, so we're allowing the public to use the bathrooms over at Haven Place. So again, you know, with older people crossing the road, just seems like it could become a safety concern that if we had some type of a lighting system or something.
Signs, you know.
So I shared this request with Sumit, and he informed me that we couldn't just do, because it's a major road and we have to meet certain MDOT standards. So he did a quick putting together numbers as to what it would possibly, Sumit, come up. What it would possibly cost to create this.
Yeah, we looked at the road condition and the traffic count and what the current regulation requires for this type of a crossing. And so we have to put some crosswalk markings. We have to modify the curves to accommodate, you know, any handicap access. And then we also need 2 flashing beacons on both sides on demand. Those will be solar powered, and you essentially push a button and they start flashing. The same one that you have on the high school. I don't know if you guys noticed that one. That's the minimum standard, but we have to go with that. I mean, I don't necessarily agree with it 100%, but that's the minimum standard that we need to adhere to. Some contingencies and engineering, you know, putting all the specs together for a contractor, we're looking at about $12,000 for cost.
When you say that it's a minimum standard, is it, you feel that it's not enough or too much, or?
It's a yellow beacon. Motorists yield to red, but MDOT, the current standards for setup like this, it's yellow is acceptable.
Would it be, I mean, are we able to do red?
If you go in with red, you have to upgrade that beacon system, and I think it's at least double the price. And if you want to do a full traffic signal, I think it's almost $100,000.
What is the current maintenance on the flashing beacon for the high school?
It's solar powered, minimal.
Minimal?
Yeah. And they talk to each other, so you push one, synchronize.
We don't have any other crossing like this downtown?
No. In fact, I think the one on Grass Street in front of the high school is one, but that was put in by MDOT.
I just wonder if, not to take you guys out of the equation, if it's not just a wise idea to have something. Do that.
Anything that we can do to improve
With increased
walkability.
increased traffic and handicap accessibility, and I know I came that way here and nobody was paying attention to people walking.
There are a lot of people who walk their dogs down there also. We get a lot of foot traffic through there, but
And again, just the increase we've seen over the last 3 years has been tremendous. And
we're not stopping.
Yeah.
We're just beginning, so we want some safety. But we understand
Yeah.
about the hunting thing, so
Absolutely.
we appreciate, any way that we can maybe get something.
This price we put together, Samantha, how accurate do you think it is?
That's why there's a 20% contingency, we don't know. Based on the slope and the sidewalk and the curb, I mean, a contractor could have to look at a sketch or a plan and bid.
Okay.
So this is just a rough estimate?
This is very rough
Very
estimate.
rough.
Yeah, we have to get bids to actually find out.
So could we get bids and then decide?
Yeah.
And just maybe make a motion to do an RFP and then,
Yeah, we put together the
Well, I
specs.
think maybe we need to talk about covering more than just that area. Because if we're gonna, we have another park on Haven Ridge, or you've got Clark and Haven Ridge, same situation. I mean, traffic does stop there at least, but, I mean, you have the same amount of pedestrians.
yeah.
And if we're gonna do it,
Well, yeah, from a holistic approach, I mean, if we're gonna improve walkability, I mean, it's, especially the downtown area, or well, I guess what we wanna call the downtown area. We're having events down there, we wanna keep encouraging people and development down there. The nicer we can make it, the more, walkable and friendly we can make it.
I think we need to have at least one. I mean, we've got, 4 intersections that are right downtown, and I'm not suggesting we do every single intersection, but at least one where if they walk over.
Yeah.
Well, let's take a look at the one.
Do we have any ADA ramps on any of the corners in that area already?
Yes.
It looks like Pasco.
But it's not directly where they need that walk.
Is it at the corner of Will and
We can move it.
like across from the, like right at the corner? of
Yeah,
it?
at the corner.
Yeah, I know the one right at the park is handicapped.
Right, yeah, 'cause all new sidewalks, yeah, they require the ADA.
Okay, so would it be possible to adjust this walkway to go between those, so it would save us money on the ramps anyway? How
Yes.
far is it away from your
It's
facility?
very close, one house. is
One
very
house
Well, then
away.
we could negate that cost right there if we've already got the ramps installed there, if we slightly move the crosswalk.
Mhm.
That
Yeah, we
makes
would
sense.
be.
But
that would
the
be-
adjoining, the ramp across the street is, because those blocks
Oh,
don't
it
line
is
up.
quite far, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, they don't line
Yeah.
up?
Yes,
It doesn't look like.
It's kind of kitty corner.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it
Okay.
would kind of be, yeah.
so we could, but you're absolutely right, we could use the
Existing?
ramp at the one of Will and Main,
Mhm,
and then go directly across,
mhm,
So it would save a little bit of money.
Main.
yeah.
Keep in mind, these are human habits. So no matter what you do, whatever they think they're gonna do at that time. So the shortest distance always wins. If you make them do a U,
Yeah.
they may just ignore it.
Yeah,
Well,
coming
but
up.
that means we'd have to set up a crosswalk for every business down there. I mean, we have to look at the practical side. If they have flasher lights on poles, that's kind of the high sign, that's what you use.
mhm.
And if they choose to disobey traffic control devices, it's on them. We're putting the means there, it's up to them to use it, and we want to be as cost effective as possible. So I think that shouldn't hurt anybody. So,
Let's put together the specs and let's put out an RFP. But one of the things that we probably want to do to make it as convenient so that it is utilized, probably the best location would be directly in front of the front door of Haven Place, going directly across the street. and hopefully those two curb cuts won't increase the price that much, because if you start forcing them down to that corner, they're not gonna walk down.
Yeah, and I'm looking at the distance here, and it's quite a bit of an angle. I didn't realize it was like that.
And at the corner, you also have a sewer manhole cover.
Yeah.
So there's, I think right in front of, directly in front of the front door of New Haven Place, and going directly across the street to the park. So let's put the specs together based on that location.
In the past, we've had work done on our cement, and we have let them know what we are, that we're a 501c3 charitable organization. We are community-based, community service, and we have received quite a bit of discount. And I don't know if that might be something that you could work with.
Yeah, unfortunately, it would have to go under the village.
Okay.
Because the village will be ordering this, they will own
Gotcha.
it.
It's not us paying.
As far as funding,
Yeah.
you guys work it out. And just to comment on Will Street, there's only one handicap ramp, so we still have to create on the other side.
But it is pretty exciting with the farmers market. We got 15 farmers, vendors that are going to participate already been signed up for the year, for the summer, from May to October. So
This is an everyday,
It'll be
That'll
every
be
Saturday.
Saturday.
Yeah.
And then on Sundays, Sunday evenings, every weekend. we'll be
These
using-
are the activities that go on during the course of the year.
Yeah.
it's on demand versus a continuous everyday. 'Cause,
Right,
versus
on demand.
a stop sign versus on demand, it's a big difference. Okay.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Appreciate it.
Do you want a motion for the RFP or?
No. We don't need one. He'll have this before I go to bed tonight.
Got it right.
Item H, resolution 19-001. Sumit and I have been working on a grant, a MDOT grant, that is being offered for this year and next year, up to a maximum $250,000 for road improvements. This grant is for projects that we have already identified as we want to work on. But MDOT needs in place a resolution from this board saying that if they give us the grant, that we have the matching funds. So we have, the street committee has talked about, road projects. I think we've identified something like about $500,000 in road projects to be done this year. So we're gonna apply for this grant that may cover half of that cost. So what I need is a motion, adopting resolution 19-001, stating that we do and are willing to provide the matching funding.
And you said this, we can apply for this year and next year, or is it just available for 2 years, one grant?
We can apply for both years.
Essentially, $1 million worth of work for $500,000.
I'm sorry.
So essentially, $1 million worth of work if we were,
No, it's 250 total, so we
Oh,
could
so not
conceivably get, hopefully we'll get something this year, which may be something, it could be something less than,
That's up to, well, we just have to match it.
yeah. We have to be willing and able to match it. And this is only being offered to communities of 10,000 or less.
Do we have the money to match it?
Absolutely.
Then I make a motion to approve resolution 19-001.
Support.
Easy. It's been properly moved and supported that we adopt resolution number 19-001, which pertains to a matching grant from MDOT, with MDOT. Any questions on the motion? Roll, please.
Trustee Pridemore.
Yeah.
Trustee Meissen.
Yes.
Trustee Foley,
Yes.
Trustee Bellinger.
Yes.
Trustee Pankowski.
Yes.
Trustee Hatchett.
Yes.
President Silbert.
Yes. As you can see, there was paperwork attached to this that shows some of the projects that we're looking at, and I think the total was $535,000.
So essentially, it's stuff that we're looking at doing anyways.
It's stuff that we're looking at doing anyway, and if we can get half of it covered, then, yeah,
House wants for days.
absolutely. I have nothing on the attorney side.
If I may, Mr. President, just one mention. You adopted Resolution 19.002. Before that street will actually be renamed, we have prepared letters that have to go out to all the applicable emergency services. New Haven Fire, Lennox, the emergency services, and the county. And if they either have to send us an approval or send us a no objection, something to that, and then we can go ahead with that. I just wanted everybody to be aware of that. And that will be done starting next week, now that this has been adopted.
Payment of bills.
Motion that we pay the bills as presented for the amount of $154,282.37.
Support.
Then moved and supported that we pay the bills in the amount of $154,282.37. Any questions on the motion? Roll, please.
Trustee Meissen.
Yes.
Trustee Bellinger.
Yes.
Trustee Foley,
Yes.
Trustee Pridemore.
Yes.
Trustee Hatchett.
Yes.
Trustee Pankowski.
Yes.
President Silbert.
Yes. Treasurer report.
Total village assets, $3,240,937.41.
Then make a motion to receive and file the treasurer's report.
Second.
To move that we receive and file the treasurer's report. Any questions on the motion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Clerk items. I think there's a date for agenda items is March 29th for the April meeting. And we still have not received the conflict of interest or disclosure statements.
We have somebody who's a notary here. I have my stuff ready, I just need a notary.
I
Okay.
have my stamp with me.
Perfect.
There you go.
Done.
Unfinished business. Ordinance 360.
Just had a couple of quick questions for Mr. Addis. You gave us a sample ordinance. Was that based on the Michigan Municipal League format?
It's based on more than that. That was part of it. We also went and reviewed the latest cases regarding village presidents, and some of those cases led us to update and adopt what is available on all the websites. And this is a sample. It can be changed, it can be modified, be whatever, but we also included in there some of the recent changes and updates from not only the Michigan Municipal League, but there's that other group that also. And then we went to other states and looked at some of them that they use. Everything in here follows Michigan law, but it is not just a copy from the Michigan Municipal League.
Right, okay. And you cited a couple of applicable, are those federal hiring laws? Like the immigration?
Those, some are Michigan laws. In most type of federal laws that apply to hiring, firing, minority hiring, age discrimination, Michigan has adopted the same exact law in a Michigan statute or at the same time. So they are normally led by federal rulings. constitutional rulings, age discrimination, sex discrimination, whatever. But Michigan also has MCL sites that match right up with them and are almost the same word for word.
Are those normally included in an ordinance?
Yeah, they are, because it's a good idea that if someone wants to interpret the ordinance like a court, what is meant by this ordinance, well, we cite you where the ordinance came from. So is it necessary? No. Is it a good practice? Yeah. In our opinion, it's a good practice, because if a judge one day has to determine what the intent of this body was, well, we depended on MCL 337.2101, or we depended on, or we based this on the language in 42 USC section 2000. Anybody trying to interpret the meaning, I don't foresee that, but if it happens, it guides whatever judicial officer is trying to figure out if you're defending a lawsuit on it, if you're whatever, here's the intent, here's what it's based on.
Okay, so going forward, if we format any of the ordinance for hiring people, we should include all those applicable.
Not all of them, but the ones that would apply. Every position is different.
Okay. Only thing I'm gonna do, this is discussion only. If you guys get a chance, go on the Michigan Municipal League website and just look at their sample ordinance, so you can kind of get an idea of where it came from. That was it.
Item B, the Village and City Committee. I'm having a difficult time, and I'm not going to spend much time on trying to get private individuals to serve on this committee. I was hoping that it wasn't going to be all elected or appointed officials, but right now I only have one outsider that has shown a willingness. So within the next couple weeks, and at the latest April meeting, then we will put this committee to work. If I don't get another private individual, like I said, I want to try to avoid too many elected and appointed.
What was the size of the committee you were looking for?
7
With comprised how?
of you.
Preferably.
I was trying to go 2 planning, 2 council, and 3 private. But I'm having a difficult time with it.
But we have one.
Yes, we have 1,
So if we hear of anybody interested, we can review.
please. Right now, I have 2 planning, 2 planning that have shown interest, and 3 trustees that have shown interest.
Just something maybe on like the village Facebook page or something to get it out there that this position is available.
It's out there somewhere, I don't know where it's at though.
I was gonna say, I don't remember even seeing it.
I didn't see it either.
I thought it was posted, maybe that's why.
It might have been posted, it's just been so long.
If we could do it in a post like we just saw the vacancies in, those are easily shareable.
Right.
Yeah,
And that's the kind of post it should have been.
that would be awesome.
Yeah.
Or just tag us and be like you're blind.
And if it did, I never saw it, so.
Yeah, because usually I try to reshare stuff.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Moving on, new business, planning update. This is,
Yeah, I'm gonna take that.
Oh,
That's okay with you, Brian?
Yeah.
Okay, thanks. The planning commission met last Tuesday. A question that we have as a group is the sign ordinance. We're moving forward with it. We've got a legal opinion on it, and I think we have this wrapped up. But is it the desire that it be a standalone ordinance, or it be included within the zoning ordinances? So that is a question that needs to be posed to this body. Do you have an opinion about it?
so what is the matter?
That was the question he asked
Oh,
us.
that's what he asked.
Yeah, so we said, oh, that's a great question, let's,
I don't know.
so, do you have an opinion on that?
No, I really, I don't.
No problem, I know I'm throwing it out there, but, so that was one topic of discussion, so we're still in the works with that, but if anybody has an opinion about
Currently,
that,
how's the sign ordinance now? Is it part of the zoning ordinance?
we have to.
Oh, so we have.
We have some in both locations, so that's, the purpose is to put them in one spot.
Okay.
Moving on, we approved a preliminary plan for the property at 57070 Gratiot. That's the current Coyotes. Mr. Talia came with a whole new improved plan, and it's really nice. So, just some information is he owns the house behind it, so that will be demoed and joined, and it's going to push the building back. It'll have a front entrance, and it's nice and pretty like we asked, so. that's
So they are
all.
going with the, that's nice.
Yeah, we approved some preliminary.
Now, he's gonna vacate the thing at the corner of New Haven and Gratiot.
Correct, he is a tenant there.
He's a tenant.
So, but he's gonna vacate, there's gonna be 2 empty businesses in there.
Correct.
Motivation to get it.
Oh, you know, maybe that'll wake the landlord up.
Right. It's a nice piece of property, and
Because that's
there's
the issue
another
right
piece
there.
adjacent
So
to it.
that's our business hub, and they have 2 vacant buildings.
So I think that's been the question, like when you look at Facebook posts about it, everybody's wondering what he's gonna do with it. And then you have to go back in and reiterate that he doesn't own it, he's not doing it.
Correct, right,
Yeah.
right. And, you know, there's a lot of potential there because that building, and there is a piece of property adjacent to it that is currently available as well, so that gets a little bit larger. So I'm planning, we're optimistic and excited about possibly what could happen there. There was a request for a public hearing for 57250 Russell. That's the basic metals facility for some storage. But we couldn't set that at this time because the petitioner just didn't have all their checklist in order yet. And there was a discussion about allowing administration to make some decisions. A case in point would be, we have a business and they'd like to change the size of their dumpster. So right now they have to go to the planning commission to do so. So I guess administration was talking about, well, could they just approve these things so it doesn't have to go through planning? Which sounds great in the future, we felt, but we didn't feel comfortable, we're not ready yet. We haven't gone through all the ordinances and all the zoning, and this particular business owner still hasn't completely complied to what they said they were gonna do when they built this building originally. So we have to figure out how to, I don't wanna say police, that's kind of a strong word, but we have to figure out a way to make sure that when we're granting these requests, that we're following through as a village and making sure that they are living up to all the expectations that they put forward that they were gonna do. So I'm not sure how we're gonna do that. Chris, maybe you have some suggestions about how we wanna handle that?
Well,
Think about that?
Yeah, because I was because I was asked about this, and I was asked by the building inspector, because he has suggested to me that in other communities that he works in, that when something simple comes before him, before the administration, they can make these small decisions that don't impact zoning or, all these major legal issues. Then in talking to Jeff, none of the communities that Jeff services has this in place, but in talking to Dave, some of the communities that he works in has these very small list of items that the administration can say, okay, yeah, you can go from a 6-yard dumpster to a 20-yard dumpster, as long as you're not visible and not, you don't, without going through, say, the ZBA and having to notify everybody within 300 feet and going through the posting of the notice and all that kind of stuff. So there's a real small list of potential items, nothing that would say, okay, yeah, you can build a factory in a residential area, not zoning or anything like that, but just some of those little things that on occasion get overlooked.
Would these be something that, let's say I'm a petitioner and I want to change my dumpster and the administrator had a bad day and told me no, could I appeal to?
Oh, yeah, you still got that right.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And we want to get there.
Yes.
We truly want to get there, because that's the best well-oiled machine.
Right, you would always have that right to go through the normal process. Yeah.
But right now, the committee feels we still have some work to finish
Sure.
before then we can put those measures in place.
Yeah,
So-
and they have expressed the willingness to go through the process, because I think we're still holding, out of all the money they put on deposit, I think they still got over $9,000 in available fees.
Right, right.
So, you know,
But they should still have to comply with what the original plan was.
yeah,
So,
yeah, but don't they have their CFO?
I don't know the answer to that, I can't
I
answer
just know
that.
they have their
Right,
CFO.
right. So, but there were some things the planner pointed out that they didn't complete yet. So,
Well, then the planner and the building inspector are not on the same page.
right, all right, so we should, right, we'll figure that. And that's what I'm saying, little surprises
Yeah.
pop up, so if we can figure out a way to maintain all
Sure.
that would be great.
Sure,
It would be
okay.
helpful. And that's all I have.
Parks and Rec update.
Yeah, just a couple of updates. We have the Easter egg hunt, thanks to Village's $1,700 allotment. That's going to be April 13th. It's going to start at 11 a.m. and that's at Haven Ridge Park.
Yep.
So we'll definitely be there. A couple trips coming up. We're doing a Pistons trip.
That was done.
I was going to say, oh, that was done. You're
That was
right.
completed.
Okay,
That
that's
was
right.
really successful.
It's on my old notes. Yeah, I was gonna say, all of our trips are full. The museum trip, the Pistons trip, really good. 150th meetings continue. There's one this Thursday at 7. Yeah, in the hall here. So things are coming along with that. And we have River Day. That's coming up on June 8th. Meet here at the Village Hall. Clean up the river, clean up the areas around it, clean up the village. And that's it.
When was that?
River Day?
Yeah.
June 8th.
Do we have a large item, this is something different, a large item pickup day scheduled from,
We don't have one, not yet. Waste Management typically will call us and offer us a weekend. Yeah, and that should be coming up pretty soon. Back to Park and Rec, and I'm gonna tell Mr. Hazek this, and I'm in the process, I'm looking for 2 new members of Park and Rec, because I intend on replacing 2. In addition to the 2 that were recently replaced. We need doers, not just title holders. And right now, we got a couple title holders. You can give yourself a title and sit on your couch. So I will bring that to you, because I think there's a post up. Is there not a post up for Park and Rec?
I saw one for planning and one for zoning, for
Planning.
sure.
Okay, I think it's Park and Rec.
There may be, yeah. That was not work.
Yeah.
It's so possible.
yeah.
So if you know anybody that wants to get involved in Parks and Rec, then item C, Laura.
Yeah, did we notify the licensing board?
No, we
that we need to? Because what can happen is people could say, look at the list and go, oh, New Haven, send something to them, they'll look at it, shoot it back down to us, then we have to shoot it back up to them. So it's just being more efficient. So maybe,
Oh.
opting out.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's just a lot of bouncing around and stuff, and if people, because a lot of people are looking at that list,
Sure, they're looking at it.
and then, you know, so just maybe we can call Laura and say just for now. And 3 or 4 communities that's on the list opted out temporarily, and they're reviewing it in a year, so.
Yeah, we didn't do it because, or at least I didn't request it to be done, because part of our motion is that we were gonna revisit in 6 months. And I figured by the time it gets on the list and then we do revisit, but, you know, we can still do it. Yeah.
Yeah, there's several on there that we're gonna review in a year anyway.
I'm a little torn though, I mean, if it's gonna cause, you know, everybody whose name gets put on that list, whether it's temporary or whether it's permanent, tons of heartache, tons of heartburn, you know, a lot of backlash, I should say, you know, people posting in the media. Ours is a temporary for 6 months, I mean, if we can avoid it for 6 months until we can revisit, make another decision.
So let them get the application, then they can bounce it down to us, then they can bounce it back to
They
them.
can't file the applications until next year.
I think they're finally, I think they said that there was like 1,400 applications already filed and sitting in
Yeah.
for
Really?
when.
The guy that's filing, I think, is gonna get it bounced back and
If they're already accepting applications.
I mean,
then
they're just
I agree.
sitting there stagnant,
Yeah.
is my understanding, just based on research. So they're there though, they're accepting them, and they, I think they are bouncing them, but they can't approve anything yet.
yeah.
Okay. If they're already accepting it, then I would agree, let's get it filed.
Okay.
Yeah, and then we can just,
We'll follow.
okay.
We have the address, the website. Call from the floor.
Just want to give a little update on the code enforcement meeting of Andy Kirkville, code enforcement officer for the village. Over the last month, actually month plus, month and a half or so, I just been doing a lot of stuff behind the scenes, so you might not see as much. I mean, I sent you all a log of kind of my activities, but I didn't even put all the stuff on there and whatnot. A lot of it's been kind of behind the scenes. So I've gotten a uniform recently, got an ID badge, I showed them on. I had to go to New Baltimore to get this issued. Got business cards, got access to the CARS system through the Michigan Department of State. That was a headache. That was nearly 2 dozen emails volleying back and forth, and they don't even have a phone number directly to the people. That was a headache. That took weeks and weeks that was a headache. Familiarizing myself with the BSNA software system and all its capabilities and whatnot, as well as kind of trying to make sense of what was and was not recorded in the system from the last code enforcement officer and other personnel that have put things on the record and whatnot. So that took a lot of getting used to and whatnot. As well as, the prior code enforcement officer, there were a lot of hard copy records that weren't necessarily in the system, so I did a lot of scanning of those and putting it in there. I just want to make sure that all the ducks are in a row, so that, when we're ready to hit the ground running, which I am now, there's no hiccups as we proceed forward. Right now, I believe I've only written one violation notice, but I have 11 manila folders over there with dozens of pages ready to go, and literally tomorrow I plan on going toward the other ones. I've also met with the building inspector. We had a good conversation about an hour long, plus a different separate day. We did a ride along through the village. I did a ride along with Trustee Hashik. I met with the attorneys, and there are a couple different attorneys. We have one for circuit court, one for district court. There's probably overlap, but it seemed to be that one's going to handle circuit, one's going to handle district. Kind of got on the same page with them of how to communicate and how to proceed forward. I had to go, meet the personnel, acquaint myself with the personnel at the district court, as well as and then actually I did go to district court on for 2 different cases, and then I did also go to court for circuit court on a separate case. We did meet with one of the property owners, the one owner of the case that is in circuit court. We reached an agreement. That's going to be formalized April 2nd, I believe, is the next court date for that. So there's a lot going on. It's been a lot of behind the scenes and kind of getting ready to go so that I can, shoot fast right out of the gate. And literally tomorrow I plan to do that with at least 11 properties, and I got a list of probably about 11 more that I want to get to sooner rather than later. So please, by all means, reach out to me on any and every property that you think needs attention. I did give you guys like a list, like a little cheat sheet of all the different little sections of the ordinance that we can cite different properties for. There's an address up there you can take a look at it yourself and kind of familiarize if you're ever curious about it. But yeah, communication, so please reach out to me. I'm available. Many of you have me on Facebook. That's probably the quickest way, but obviously email is there as well. So please don't hesitate. If you have any questions right now, I'm feel free to answer them. I don't know if you want to do that through this format, but I can stay after the meeting as well. Good.
I just want to say thank you.
Yeah.
That 1.5 month update was more than I've ever received,
Yeah.
ever in the years I've been on council.
Dan, did you wait till after the meeting on ask you a question? Yeah.
Call from the floor. Call from the table.
I just have a question about
Haven Place had requested to worship in the park. Where are we at with that?
That was, they're not gonna be using Fountain Park, they're gonna use Haven Place Park.
Okay, so that, oh, thank you.
We got a couple things. Forgive me, because I just got an email from the Great Lakes Water Authority. There's been a reduction in water and sewer rates, but I don't have a formal,
50%?
I have a percentage, but I don't have a formal rate. Got to send out email late. The water tower is offline. If you didn't know or didn't see the post, the water tower was taken offline last Friday, I think it was. It sprung a leak at about the 60-foot mark. So we had to wait until it thawed out, and we had to drain it down below that. I think we drained it 3 feet below that mark, and the contractor's coming in Friday to make the repair. And then once the repair is done, it'll be put back online. Because I know there's been some reduction in pressure. I know when I hop in the shower, I want to take a squirt gun with me I can tell the difference. You know, so the water tower will be back up hopefully this weekend. And it's due for its biannual inspection, which was scheduled for July. Pricing in July.
We'll have to vote for next.
Yeah, so it's scheduled for its regular inspection, which is a full, they drain it and they clean it and they inspect it and they televise it and they send a human down that center tube and look for any structural, you know, so the water tank, like I said, is offline right now, and hopefully we'll be back online this weekend. Call from the table.
I just want to congratulate the boys basketball team on another successful season. Came up short yesterday, but
My 8-year-old granddaughter came up to me after the game yesterday, and she just put her arm around me and said, "Papa, you okay?" And how can I not be when an 8-year-old sees the pain in my face? You know, yeah, I was okay. No, I'm not okay, but I was okay with her, you know? Yeah. It's been a good run. And our girls are playing right now up in Marlette in the regional finals, so hopefully they'll, for the first time, be regional champs. It's been a good run for the girls and boys this year.
Well, not only basketball, but bowling.
Bowling.
We've got champions.
Yeah.
The robotics team got honorable mention. I mean,
Yeah.
place is crawling with champions. Not too bad.
Next month, we're also going to honor a Eagle Scout. Our fire department, they host a den, not a den. What do you call a Boy Scout?
Sponsor.
Yeah, and one of our local Boy Scouts just attained the Eagle Scout ranking. So we're gonna honor him at next month's council meeting. Call from the table.
I'm trying to look up the date, but Facebook isn't cooperating with me. I think the pancake, since you mentioned fire department, I think the pancake breakfast is
I'll say it was April 14th.
Thought it was April 12th.
I think it's right around our
April 14th at 8, let's go.
Oh, cool.
When is it, Rachel?
April 14th at 8 a.m.
14. And I forwarded everyone an email from Harbor Oaks.
Oh yeah, we have a new business in town, C4M Cakes. Also, she does event planning, rents chairs, rents tables, does cakes, makes really good cake pops. So keep her in mind. Keep Crystal in mind.
Motion in order.
Make a motion that we adjourn.
second.